ITA for not telling my girlfriend that my parents are gay. I'm 25M, I have two parents. My birth dad, John, who's 48M, and my other dad, Dwayne, who's 45M. I call my birth dad John, Dad. And I call my other dad Dwayne, Pops. My birth dad John was married to my mom for a few years, then she left my dad and they ended up divorcing, and now she's somewhere in California, IDK where or what she's doing. Haven't talked to her in ages. So Dad and Pops I'm super close with. They are the best parents any child could ask for. I love both of them and they've always been with me. My dad introduced me to Pops when I was a little boy and they had told me they were in a relationship. And I was all for it because I had saw my dad become lonely, sad when he was single. So seeing the fact that my dad loves someone and has a life partner made me super happy. Pops and Dad got married, and we've been living an amazing life. I'm probably more too close to Pops than my own dad, haha. Due to the fact that Pops is really cool and he's laid back. I love both of them equally and they love me as well, and I'm blessed to have them as parents. For a few months I've been dating this girl Bella who's my age. I thought she's pretty cute and I liked her. So we kicked it, and recently she told me, my parents want to meet your parents and want to come over for dinner. I said sure. I'll tell my family. So yesterday, Friday night, Bella comes in. Pops greets her and says, come on in sweetheart, dinner is ready. She says, you must be, _____, dad, so good to meet you, and she shakes his hand and she sees Dad come out of the kitchen. He's holding the mac and cheese tray, with the mittens, and is putting it on the table. Then Bella says, who's he? I said, oh that's my dad. She said, either he's your dad, she's referring to Pops. I say yeah, that's my Pops, and that's my dad. She pulls me to the side and says, I didn't know your parents are gay. Oh my god, why didn't you tell me? I genuinely didn't know why that'd be an issue or so. Because you're dating me, not my parents and all. So it shouldn't matter, but I guess it's a concern for her. Her parents come at the door after they parked the car and Bella tells her parents, let's leave, and they left. I told my parents I'm sorry and they said, son don't worry, this is nothing new, haha, and then we all sat down and enjoyed dinner and went to sleep. Sorry ITA for not telling.
NTA, but perhaps naive. Unfortunately, it's probably better to let a girlfriend know you have two dads so you can out the homophobes before you accidentally bring them home for dinner. Sad face.
NTA, did she ever tell you her parents are straight?
NTA, although I'm surprised this hasn't come up in conversation with her in the past few months. Discussion of family, parents, siblings, is fairly common in early dating.
Info, you never told her your parents' names? Okay.
Obviously you dodged a homophobic bullet here, but you should consider pre-screening this information so your parents don't have to deal with unnecessary bigotry. Just tell women ahead of time, and if they object then you don't bring them home. It's the considerate thing to do for your parents.
NTA, the only part that I found confusing about your story is that you're referring to her as your girlfriend, and not as an ex. ***F homophobia*****.
Info. You've dated this girl for months. How has the subject of parents never come up? After my parents divorced, Dad met Pops and Pops raised me as his own. Seriously, what did you two talk about?
Maybe what we should do is demand that hating assholes disclose their hate targets so we can know not to bother with them. And act shockingly outraged when they don't tell us beforehand.
Not sure what you're trying to get at here. He probably should let prospective girlfriends know so that he doesn't accidentally expose his poor dads to hate. They might be used to it, but they don't deserve it.
NTA, but I find it strange you never talked about them on front of you. Usually say a few things about your parents before the meeting, like likes this and you should avoid that, while YY loves this and dislike that.
NTA. But, while this is definitely not a situation that warrants an, oh my, why didn't you tell me, reaction with her showing her and leaving. Disgusting. I hope you've ended things with her. I'm a little confused how you guys were at the point in y'all's relationship where parents meeting parents is happening yet you haven't had enough conversation about your lives, etc. that would allow your GF to at least connect the dots your parents. Is it vital information that you owe a significant other? Absolutely not. Families obviously come in endless compositions. You should never have to slap a disclaimer on anyone's sexuality, geez. But parents meeting parents is usually a sign that you're at least entering a pretty serious stage in your relationship, and for that to have never come up in any way is kinda wild. Then again, your GF sounds kind of obtuse anyways. Maybe you've mentioned things like, I'm going with dad and pops to the store, before and she just thought you were talking about your dad and grandpa. Or something. IDK. Definitely NTA though.
This is the answer.
I'm getting at that telling op that he should be disclosing his parents' orientation in order to avoid homophobes is wrong. It's the girl the one that should be telling her dates. By the way, I'm homophobic, so if that's going to be a problem, better know it the dads don't deserve to be hated on by anyone. But it's not him who needs to disclose their status beforehand.
Oh, I firmly believe he shouldn't have to. But that doesn't mean we don't live in the real world. In the real world, homophobes exist. They don't always advertise themselves. And he should be protecting his dads from them.
No, he shouldn't have to, but IRL no one is going to admit that. Weeding people out whose thinking isn't aligned with yours is a part of life. Op could have saved himself the time he wasted with her.
Agree. It's super upsetting to come face to face with people who hate you simply for existing, and if anyone is able to protect their loved ones from that experience they should try to.
Yeah, I mean, if she asked I would have told her, but she never asked. Plus I mean I never thought it'd be something to bring up to begin with. You know. But yeah, I broke up with her this morning.
And as a trans person, it's not a trigger warning. It's a safety measure.
Yeah. I found it strange that THWGF was meeting OP's parents for the first time alongside of her own parents. I've always thought it made more sense for the person you're dating to meet your parents before theirs do, but, NTA either way.
I mean, I'm sure he's mentioned them plenty of times, she just may not have realized, Dad, and Pops, referred to two different people. It is a bit odd to have never asked about each other's families, but not that weird.
I mean, it kinda is, but it shouldn't really be relevant. It's like meeting someone that plays FIFA with alternate controls instead of the default one. Yeah, you shoot with B, I shoot with X, cheeky smiley face.
Pops is term a lot of people associate with a grandfather, so maybe that's what she did. It is weird that she never noticed the lack of a mum being in his stories.
When I was in high school I had a boyfriend whose mom was and he lived with her and her partner. I was never told his mom was. I found out when I first met them. I had a sweeping thought of, oh, his mom is. That's I ended up becoming very close to his mom's partner. She was like a second mom. Later in our relationship he told me, it meant a lot that when you met my mom you were cool about her being there, wasn't a reason not to be cool with it. This was over 20 years ago. My conservative, Republican parents were okay with it. There was no reason the girlfriend and her parents reacted this way.
Yeah, I mean, I have moms and tell people that because sharing things about your life is a normal part of partnership. It just sort of comes up in conversation. This almost feels like a bait post because how could this, not, asterisk have come up? It's a pretty normal thing for me to mention my mom's at some point between a first date and taking someone home to meet them.
I agree NTA, but a comment before she met them would have been good. Even so we'll be meeting my dad, his name is John, and my pops, his name is I can't believe you got to a stage of her meeting your parents without you ever talking about them. The reason to say something is not because it matters to your relationship, but because it will help her develop a relationship with your dads if she makes a good first impression. Most people will be surprised because of heteronormativity, but also because it's just not average. I think it would have been better to say something, but by no means an move, and she is definitely the for how she reacted.
Brown. The majority of the world population has brown or dark brown eyes. Green being the rarest, blue appearing predominantly in Northern Europeans. You for proving my point.
It is the default, just like being right-handed. Doesn't mean that left-handed people are worse, but they are the minority. Being homeopathic is pretty bad. I still think being homophobic is worse though.
All those essential oils weary.
Plus for the longest time us lefties were persecuted and even killed for being southpaws, across multiple different cultures, and it's actually a good comparison to being LGBTQ+.
I'd have assumed Pops would be a grandfather. So I'd assume he was living, raised with his father and grandfather after his mother he didn't clarify that his father was in a relationship, then I wouldn't assume it based on the names. I don't think it is a big deal at all, but properly something you should mention to your so before introducing parents, just like any other unexpected obvious difference. It is just nicer to give your so a heads up so they aren't surprised. Being surprised, even if you have zero problems at all with the situation, can make you nervous and uncomfortable when you are already feeling those things going in.
I also feel like this person's writing, voice, comes off as younger than 25.
Yeah, I'd give anyone meeting my parents a heads up. Hey, you'll be meeting my mom and her boyfriend. I don't have contact with because my family is wrong or shameful, but why would you not just give basic info so no one is surprised? It seems like Op set up some kind of gotcha moment to catch his, which works in this situation since apparently she is homophobic. But even someone who isn't homophobic is going to be surprised that you didn't mention she'll be meeting two dads, not a dad and a mom. Why wouldn't you set your partner up for success?
TBH, I also think he should have felt her out instead of subjecting his parents to being walked out on. Op could have discovered the homophobia well before that point if so. Like, it's good his dads didn't seem to mind, but I can't picture deliberately putting someone I loved through that when a little more legwork on my part could filter out the trash for them.
Exactly, NTA. I'm a little surprised about if you are dating with someone for months how is you never talked before about your childhood or family. Never shared intimate information, memories, stories, life philosophy, and I don't mean just him. I mean both of wonder if the girlfriend's parents are very traditional. That's something she must have shared too.